Okay, well, everyone, welcome to my IG Live conversation with Teresa Giglio. She's my colleague and co-creator of the College Wellness Collective, a program that we are launching this week, which is super exciting. If you do not, today's topic, by the way, is helping young adults and college students overcome anxiety. So we're going to get into that. If you don't know me, if you're here for Teresa and you haven't met me yet, my name is Nikki Aiello. I'm a recovery coach and lifestyle consultant based out of Denver. I've recently partnered with 3 other wellness experts, including Teresa, to create this really incredible program for struggling college students right now. So on the heels of a really crappy senior year, I'm now embarking on their college journey, which is definitely probably a disappointment to many and causing a lot of anxiety and depression because of the isolation and just so many other aspects that we'll get into. So, so that's what we're kind of gearing this towards today. And I want to take a moment to introduce Teresa in full, and then we'll talk. So Teresa Giglio is a certified recovery coach, entrepreneur, and yoga teacher. She has worked at multiple treatment centers and universities, helping college students and young adults reach their emotional, physical, and spiritual goals. Just so awesome. We believe that many of the unwanted negative symptoms that we experience, like addiction, codependency, depression, anxiety, and eating disorders, are our body's way of telling us that we are out of alignment within self and disconnected from who we really are, who we truly are. Teresa works with her clients to individualize a plan to start to heal from old wounds and ways of thinking. Her own recovery journey has paved the way for her to start her own coaching business called The Warrior Within. It is her passion to help young adults and college students receive the love, support, and resources they need to live their best life. And I am so happy to have been connected with Teresa. We are new friends and colleagues as of the past 2 months, and I asked her to be part of this program that I had the idea of creating because of all of those things that I just read about her. I mean, her experience is extensive, and you know, she's also just kind of on the heels of her own college journey. So you know, she's closer in age and experience to the group that we're reaching out to right now. So welcome, Teresa.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here and just so inspired by you too, and all the work that you've done. You know, this project that we're creating has really been inspired by you and your, you know, family and just your passion and drive to help people who right now are so affected by what's going on. So just really blessed to be a part of this conversation because I think in some way we're all affected by these things. And so just really grateful to be here.
Well, thank you. And, you know, obviously I feel the same way.
Yeah.
So, so let's just kind of go into this. I know that you probably actually have a lot of, you know, college students tuning in that already know you. She's been a part of program at CU Boulder. So she's very connected here. You also have experience with the Recovery 2.0 program and movement, which is huge too. Those are 2 really big things. So, so I want to talk about basically with so many college students stuck at home right now or in their dorm room, and, you know, feeling isolated and lonely. You know, there's just so much that, you know, it's scary enough to go to college anyway, to go off and kind of embark on that new phase of life. But then when you're going and then suddenly you don't even have the community to, you know, connect with and, you know, peers and all of that. So there's just and the state of affairs in just the world right now. There's so many compounding forces that are making it very challenging and just giving a sense of like ungroundedness, you know, lack of direction for these students. So let's speak to some of that anxiety and depression and isolation. What is some advice that you'd like to give them today?
Totally. Yeah, I mean, that's such a deep question. There's so much to that. And I'm just kind of thinking from my own college experience, you know, if I currently was in college right now, I graduated around, what year is it? Like 3 years ago. I don't even know anymore. What is time anymore?
It's a flat circle, as my best friend would say.
Right. But you know, if I was in college during this time with everything happening, what would the advice I want to receive? And if I was a parent, right, if I was a parent who had a child right now going through university, what would the advice, you know, a parent would want to receive if their child was also struggling with some of these things? And I think some of the advice is just knowing how normal it is right now. If you know someone who's struggling, if you have a child who's struggling, if you are struggling, I just want to normalize. You know, I work and I coach a lot of young adults and college students right now, and everybody is going through this. Everybody's feeling their emotions on a next level than we felt in the past. You know, anxiety is sparked, that feeling of just like deep isolation, that feeling of like, what is my purpose? What is my passion? We're being asked to ask questions that we've never been asked before, because a lot of our knowns have now become unknowns. And that, you know,
Well said.
as a human, like being a human and having these experiences, when we have so many unknowns in our world, right? Like that just sparks fear. And when we're constantly in a fear response, right? When our nervous system is elevated and we're in a fear response, we're then gonna be displaying symptoms of anxiety, of depression, of needing to control. And it's just this really normal reaction on a physiological level outward of trying to find homeostasis in some way. So again, just like normalizing that, like, we are such intelligent beings, and even if we're grabbing technology, even if we're grabbing onto relationships, even if we're grabbing onto food during these times, our bodies are so intelligent to try to find some sort of stabilization. So those things might not be serving us in a sense, but it's really this way of trying to seek some sort of grounding, some sort of healing. And I think what really I see in the work that I do is it reaches a certain point where it's actually producing a negative consequence, and it's producing more pain and suffering than actually soothing and comfort. And so what I like to do is, when, you know, I'm working with a college student or I'm working with a family, is finding the intelligence in the coping mechanism or in the soothing that's giving a little bit of relief from that anxiety. But then it's actually taking it to that next level of what is truly going to satisfy that anxiety, that relief that we truly need to ground our nervous systems, that's going to give us a long-term effect. And so again, during this time, if I was a college student, I would just say, like, you are not alone. Everybody is feeling this on a universal level. And it's just asking for help, right? Like, if you know anybody, like, it's being vulnerable and being able to ask for help and not having to do it alone and not having to be strong, but asking for help. You know, whoever inspires you, whoever you think could be someone who could be that support system, be vulnerable, name your needs, and ask for help, because there are resources, there are tools, there are people who are available to you to seek the solutions that you need. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, I think that was really, really helpful, just to point out that, you know, we're hard on ourselves a lot, whether we're young or older, sometimes for reaching for these different things to soothe us, you know, and we get down on ourselves about it. And, you know, there's a lot of judgment behind whether it's alcohol or whether it's a relationship or food or all of those things that you listed. And when we can cultivate some compassion for ourselves by reminding ourselves, just what you pointed out, that we're doing that because there's an intelligence underneath there that knows that these things provide some sort of comfort, that ultimately our nervous system wants to be back in balance.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to reach for the things that we know, whether it's conscious or subconscious. And I think what you and I are really passionate about is really teaching people new skills and tools and experiences that they can reach for instead, that won't have those detrimental effects in the end,
Totally.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it seems like I would love for you to just talk a bit about your own personal experience that brought you to doing the work that you're doing. Like, if I know that's a long story,
Yeah.
but maybe a couple of things that you might want to draw from your past that might speak to the the group that we're, wanting to reach, and talk to them about how what something that you dealt with and how you used whatever to overcome.
Totally. Yeah. So I, embarked on a path of recovery when I was 18 years old. I actually got sober from substances when I was 18. Um, and not looking for it, it kind of found me in the sense of experiencing a lot of what people are experiencing. There was just this sense of like, oh, something's inherently wrong with me. I'm, so overwhelmed all the time. I'm having all these panic attacks. I don't know what's wrong. I can't keep up with my courses in college. I'm failing everything. I don't know why. And, I am socially partying, like just all of those things. But there was just this underlining thing that I felt like deep strongly within of, I can't keep going on without asking for help. Like, there's something more to all of this than just having to survive on a day-to-day basis. And like seeking that solution when I was really young. And so when I was 18 years old, I decided to ask for help and go away to receive some more deeper help, and take a leave of absence when I was at college. And it was a huge, like one of the greatest blessings I've ever had. And obviously, being that young, like there's so much stigma of like taking a semester off, going away, and needing that extra space to really cultivate a relationship with self. Because I think there's so much, we're with social media, with all of these things, like we're kind of bombarded with who we think that we should be to receive love and be enough in this society, in this world. And so I kind of grew up trying to be all these different peoples to receive that quote unquote love, but never was taught to actually build relationship with myself and love myself. And so taking that time to like go off and really establish that like root and that foundation when I was a freshman in college allowed me to then go off and like be successful, quote unquote successful, whatever that means to you, um, in college. And so I decided, actually living a life in recovery, in wellness, and stuff like that was serving me greater than what I was doing before. And so I kind of it became my mission and my dream and my passion to keep doing this internal work and then be able to give it back to other kids who have a similar story as me. And so that's like a little mini taste of my story. But I think, again, like my thing is, we're never alone in the pains that we're dealing with. And a core thing, especially being a young person in recovery, that I always told myself was like, I'm alone. Nobody gets me. How am I going to be sober in college, right? Like, how am I going to be able to socialize, find friends who get me and understand me? Like, I need to party. I need to do these things. And really, again, when we are able to just tap into our truest desires, our passions, what we dream to build in this world and do in this world, then all of a sudden everything like beautifully just like falls into place, and you start to attract your like friends and the people who support you on your journey. And that peer pressure and all those things kind of slowly fall away, because you're so solid in your foundation of self, that your fears of belonging and fitting in no longer are as strong as they were for me. And so that's really important for me to help inspire other young adults, college students, to find within them of like, you can do this too. If you feel like there's some sort of blocking that's happening of using some sort of negative coping mechanism, but you're afraid that you can't stop because you have to do it because your peers are doing it. There are other ways. So yeah, anyways.
That's perfect. Thank you so much. I mean, you just are so eloquent and wise, which is why I wanted you on my team. I wanted to team up with you for this. And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of young people are going to be inspired by you. I think it's incredible. It just, a couple things just came to me while you were talking. One is that, you know, I'm a huge believer experientially, and it's what I teach and what I coach as well. It's, you know, creating new habits and bringing positive aspects in your life. Just as you bring those in, all of the fears and all of the negative things and things that cause us the anxiety and the depression, they fall away. It's not a matter so much of, you know, addressing anxiety, depression. It's not, you know, it's more like feeding the healthy side of you and, you know, kind of taking energy away from focusing on the, you know, the side of you that is in distress. Eventually it just takes care of itself, you know. And it's like learning new tools and skills that you practice regularly, even when you don't need them, so that when you do need them, you know how to use them. You know. And it's just, those are some key factors that that are big for me. Another thing that occurred to me was like, when you're talking about partying, you know, so many kids would right now, you know, like first and second from semester, you know, just be out, you know, it's so much about partying. And they can't do that right now, which is very interesting sort of like thing that they were forced into not doing, you know, which like, I feel like, come join us. Like, this is what you can do instead. And guess what? You're going to come out of this, you know, if, you know, anybody who wants to join the College Wellness Collective, like coming out of this program and not actually having that huge desire and feel the pressure to go out and then go right into partying next year when they go back to school. I mean, it's just like, what a gift. I mean, almost everything I do in life professionally is basically something I wish I had when I was, you know, younger. Like, I wish I had this program. I wish I had this coach. So it's like, you know, all of these things are like, I just want, and you know, I know that you feel the same. And so does Samantha and Kelly, the other two women involved in College Wellness Collective. We want to provide younger people with support to make things easier, because shit is hard. You know, it's hard. And especially when you're on a kind of more a path towards, whether you want to call it spirituality or just, you know, not the mainstream, you feel some sort of draw to something bigger, but maybe that wasn't your exposure in life, so you don't really have any direction, you know. So, you know, so that's hard to not have, you know, a guide or support team, anything like that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the program itself, because I want to talk about your role in it. So anybody who is not familiar yet with the College Wellness Collective, you can go to the website, which is collegewellnesscollective.com, and all of the information is there. It's a 4-week course in February on Thursday evenings from 6 to 8. It's a 2-hour experience for 4 weeks in a row. And so those who are involved are myself, so life transition, recovery coach, lifestyle consultant, Teresa, recovery coach, yoga instructor. I'm also a yoga instructor. And then Samantha Miller, she is a licensed clinical social worker. So she's going to lead group discussions. You know, we could call it group therapy or group discussions, whatever, you know, resonates better for you. And then we also have Kelly Miller, who is going to be a guest speaker, guest educator on nutrition and biochemistry. So she actually has a tremendous amount of experience with addictive nutrition. So she knows a lot about food and mind and mood connection. And she also has experience creating nutrition programs for colleges, so for college students. So that's the dream team that's involved. And each week we're going to have the group discussions led by Samantha. And then Teresa and I will bring in different aspects to the program as well. So we both come from a yoga background and a coaching background. So there will be yoga in there. There will be lots of breathing techniques, because I think you and I both agree that they're kind of the most powerful, like one of the most powerful things from yoga, practices in yoga. And meditation and journey of self and spirituality. I'd like to speak a little bit, have you speak a little bit more to what you specifically are going to be bringing into the group, what people can expect to, you know, go through with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really what I'm hoping that I'm going to bring to the group is, you know, for whoever chooses to, you know, be a part of this group and this course for this month, is to create a community, right? So people are going to leave here with feeling like they have peers to connect to, right? I think for me personally, my greatest gift in recovery and the number one thing that I've received is having those people to call when I'm struggling, when something comes up, you know, with daily life. And so really creating a strong foundation for people to be able to have tools once they leave. And so, you know, it's kind of be like an incubator where we're going to have so much diversity in how the brain works, right? Where do these wounds come from? Why do we feel this stuff on a physiological, biological level? That's a lot of the stuff that I bring, because what I find within my coaching work is that, especially the younger generation, we not only want the tools, but we want to be able to connect it to the why. And so I see a lot, the transformation sort of escalate the healing process is when we know where it stemmed from, the why it happens. You know, if I'm doing this breath work, right? So like, it's so funny. You know, if I'm teaching a breath work, like nostril breathing or something, people are a lot more willing to do it if they know, like, why does this even work? Like, what's happening in my body? If I do this for 3 weeks, what are the effects going to be, type of thing. And so really what I like to do is kind of break those down in a tangible way for people to be able to grasp, and have that education around these certain tools. And so that's a lot of the stuff that I'll be bringing in the course, is those interconnections between, you know, the foundation of how we are the way that we are, why we are using these certain coping mechanisms to find ease and comfort, and then the ways that we can use other healthier things to be able to, you know, live the lives that we truly desire and truly want. So yeah.
What are some of these other healthier things what are your favorites? What are you, can you list a few?
I think, right, so like stuff like pattern interrupts, right? So our brains and our neural pathways are deeply wired, to have certain hits, certain, you know, chemistry, certain, on a daily basis. We're so programmed to, you know, find comfort in our daily routine, our daily lives. And so subconsciously we're, you know, creating our environments to hit these neural pathways in a certain way, because it's familiar, right? And that's why we see so much just that anxiety that I was talking about in the beginning of this talk, is that because so much of our familiars have become unfamiliar, our bodies are like, what is happening? I don't know how to cope with this. I don't know how to navigate my life right now because I haven't hacked my system yet. And so really, like, some of the ways we teach is knowing, okay, like, because I can't get that certain relief from this way that I'm used to, I have to create a new neural network to find that same comfort, find that same sympathetic nervous system response, find, you know, build that resiliency within our bodies, create that more capacity, to regulate ourselves. And because, again, like, we're moving into a next stage, our world is changing a lot, we're going to have to find new ways of coping and living that might not have worked for us in the past.
Mm-hmm. What are some of, so I imagine then you're going to bring in quite a few different hacks that, you know, hacks as the, you know, as kind of like the tools and techniques that students can have with them for life to kind of short circuit that old neural pathway and create a new one. Tell me about, let's talk a little bit about breath work and how that can be effective. And maybe if you want, you can maybe take us through a very quick like breathing experience.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So breath work. I love this quote that one of my teachers told me is, we come into this life with an inhale and we leave with an exhale. And so really the foundation for everything that occurs within our body is through the breath. And so that's a lot of the work that I do. And it was the number one thing I was hesitant, throughout my entire journey, up till this year, was like practicing the breath, because it's just so intertwined with, where we were born, what stems from our healing, our emotional wounds, like all that kind of stuff. And so really when it comes to the breath, there's so many tools to engage different parts within our body, different, chemicals within the brain, and kind of finding those ways to calm ourselves, but also invigorate ourselves, right? Like to instigate motivation. If you're like working on an essay, right, there's certain techniques that you can also not only calm, but also invigorate more energy to help you with schoolwork. And so really in this course, we're going to talk about different ways to utilize the breath to help you move past certain blockages that are happening in your life.
Rather than staying up all night with coffee and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
None of us do that now. Yeah.
But it's a nice adjunct, at least, if it's not a replacement, all these things help a little bit.
Totally.
Is there one that you can take us through now that you'd like to take us through?
Yeah, we can.
I know there's
do
so
like
many.
A little quick one.
Yeah.
Let me think of one. So box breathing, box breath is what I call it. You probably know this. But it's a really good one. I would do it a lot in class because no one could tell that I was doing it, which I really like. It's not like a crazy one where people are like, what is that chick doing?
Which I'm sure that you would be comfortable doing too.
Yeah. But it's like a 4-count breathing. So it's kind of like a box if you think about it. So you're going to inhale for 4 seconds, hold on the top of your breath, like 4-count, hold 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds, and then hold at the bottom of your breath for 4 seconds. And again, like this is a calming breath, so it's not going to be invigorating. Really, this breath is for if you need to calm your nervous system, regulate your nervous system. And what this breath specifically does, if we want to take it to the next notch, when you're holding your breath on top, you're going to increase your CO2 in your blood, which actually it's going to stimulate your vagus nerve, which is really good for releasing anxiety. And we'll talk about that in the course, like what that is, how to, engage those parts of us. And then when you're exhaling, that's going to engage the parasympathetic nervous system response. And so this breath is really good for us. And so we can have a little experience here and try it out. And you guys can tell me if I'm full of nonsense.
Well, I'll add that this is actually, there's a Navy SEAL, I don't know his name offhand, but he's a huge proponent of this breathing technique, and he teaches it in a lot of his public speaking, events. And so this one, it has for sure got a lot of scientific proof behind it, and big people have learned about it and are teaching it.
Totally. And again, like we can close our eyes in it, but if you're in class and something and you're taking a test and all of a sudden you're having so much anxiety, it's just like you can just open your eyes and do it too. So we'll try it out. So feel free to join us, whoever's on the other side of the screen.
Do it, everybody. You're here.
Cool. So
I'll close my eyes.
Perfect. So just ground in your seat and take a moment to feel your sit bones in your seat, in your chair, wherever you're landed right now. And just notice if there's any noises in your room and become aware of your space, and we'll begin our breath. And so again, we're gonna inhale 4 seconds, hold on the top of our breath 4, exhale 4, hold on the bottom of our breath 4. And we'll begin inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then repeat. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then repeat one more time with me, and then we'll go at our own pace. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then continue this breath at your own pace. Inhaling, holding, exhaling, holding. And then finish your last inhale and exhale here. And then when you're ready, just come back to the room. Notice if there's any shifts in energy, how you felt before and how you feel now. Just take a moment to place awareness to the sensations of how you feel in this moment. And then you can open your eyes when you're ready.
I love breath work so much.
Yeah.
My favorite. Thank you for that. That was great.
Of course. Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed that too. That is for everybody. You know, there you go. Yeah, everybody now has a new tool in their toolbox if they've never done that before. It's super easy to remember and do, and you can do it anytime. Like you said, it's not in, for me, it's a very balancing breath. So if I'm feeling down, it kind of takes me up just to like a state of, more normality, neutrality. And if I'm up, kind of brings me down. So it's just one that you can do all the time.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely. That's a beautiful way of putting it.
So, so everyone, this is Teresa. Teresa is going to be leading, a lot of incredible discussions and practices through the College Wellness Collective. Next, I'm going to be interviewing Samantha Miller, the therapist, the licensed clinical social worker. She's going to be coming up soon. And we are going to be talking about, once again, the issues that college students young adults and college students are dealing with right now. And then what sort of, formal therapeutic techniques she has been trained in and what she will be bringing into the group and what those group discussions and therapy sessions will look like so that people, will have an idea of, what they're going to be experiencing, and they can get a great sense of Samantha, who's another bright, wonderful, brilliant young woman. So I'm very excited to introduce her to everybody as well. And then Kelly Miller, the nutritionist, I've actually already interviewed her in the past. So she's in my IGTV library right now. So you'll see her, Kelly Miller, the addiction nutritionist. So you can get a sense of who she is. I'm just so psyched to have such a team of brilliant, brilliant women. Like, this is really, really exciting. So that being said, this is not a course just for females. This is open to anybody and everybody. This is all universal. These are all universal practices that can benefit anyone and everyone. We're limiting it ages 17 to 21, really more for the group therapy aspect, so there's a real sense of, kind of peer sort of relationship there. But as this grows, we hope to maybe have some other age groups available and have this, stem off in different directions. But for now, it's that age. And the website is collegewellnesscollective.com. There's a lot of great information there. You can email me or email us at info@collegewellnesscollective.com. And then Teresa, if anybody wants to learn more about you, like in the meantime, before this starts, where do they go?
So you can email me at teresa@thewarriorwithin.co. I also have a website called thewarriorwithin.co. Also, you can inbox me on my Instagram, which is at Teresa Giglio. DM me, whatever. More than, welcome to answer any questions and help you guys in any way. Yeah, so super excited, just to be a part of this team and be a part of the collective, helping with these problems. I hate to say problems, but just like bringing light
Challenges?
to the solutions that need to be served right now. And so just very blessed. Yeah.
Love it. Cool. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. I see that there's like some pretty cool comments here. Let me just see if there's anything that I should read out loud. Sometimes I'm not the best at opening these up. Great people are very supportive of this, talking about the vagus nerve, such a powerful nerve. This is so great, and wishing that they had this back when they were younger. Getting some comments like that. Awesome. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in. This is awesome. Please also share with any parents or other young adults that could benefit from this. Please help us spread the word, because we're just now launching and we want to get a nice group for the February 4th start date.
Yeah, and spaces are limited. We want to have it really intimate and really help whoever decides to come and give them our fullest attention. So we're only doing 10 spaces the first round. So if you know anyone, please send us our way. Send them whatever that saying is.
Yes, send them our way. It's perfect.
That. English.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Teresa, thank you. Everyone, thank you. Pass this along. Have a wonderful day, and reach out. Let's keep the conversation going about all of this. We're open to ideas and just any sort of conversation.
Perfect. Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Take care. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.